I was a doctor, a woman trusted with saving lives. But I never imagined, one day, I would be fighting to save my own. My name is Dr. Lena, and this is the story of how the man I loved almost destroyed my life, from inside my own home. From the outside, my life looked perfect. A respected doctor, a beautiful house, and a husband everyone believed was lucky to have me. Every morning before sunrise, I wore my white coat, picked up my bag, and left for the hospital. Long hours, sleepless nights, emergency calls, patients fighting between life and death. While I was saving strangers, I believed my husband Alex was protecting our home. But I was wrong. Very wrong. At first, Alex seemed perfect, kind, caring, supportive. He used to cook dinner for me, wait for me late at night, and smile every time I walked through the door. I trusted him completely, because when you love someone, you don't expect betrayal. But slowly things started changing. Not suddenly, but quietly, like shadows growing in the dark. Late-night phone calls, messages he deleted too fast, and strange smiles while staring at his phone. Whenever I asked, he always had the same answer. Just work, nothing important. And I believed him, because I was tired, busy, and blind with trust. Until one night, everything changed. That night, I returned home earlier than usual. It was raining outside. The streets were silent, and something inside me felt strange, uneasy, restless. When I entered the house, the silence felt wrong. Too quiet. No TV sound. No footsteps. Just silence. I walked slowly toward the bedroom. And that's when I saw it. A shirt, lying on the floor, with a bright red lipstick mark on the collar. Not my color. Not my shade. Not mine. My heart started pounding so loudly, I could hear it in my ears. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My hands started shaking. Questions flooded my mind. Who is she? When did this happen? Inside my house? Inside my bedroom? I wanted to scream. I wanted to break everything. But instead, I stayed silent. Because in that moment, something inside me changed. Something cold. Something dangerous. That night, when Alex came home, he smiled like nothing had happened. "Hey, you're home early," he said casually. I looked at him and forced a smile, pretending everything was normal, pretending I didn't see the truth, staring back at me from that shirt. But inside, a storm had already started. That night, while he slept peacefully beside me, I stayed awake, watching him, listening to every breath, and planning. Yes, planning. Because sometimes, the quietest people are the most dangerous when betrayed. Days passed, and I started noticing everything. Every call, every message, every lie. And soon, more clues appeared. One evening, while he was in the shower, his phone lit up on the table. A message appeared on the screen. From an unknown number. "Last night was unforgettable. I can't wait to see you again, Red Heart." My vision blurred. My chest felt tight. But still, I didn't react. Instead, I memorized the number. Because I knew this was only the beginning. That same night, I made my first move. Quietly, carefully, without his knowledge. I contacted someone. A professional investigator. Someone who knew how to uncover hidden truths. Within days, the truth started coming out. And it was worse than I imagined. Alex wasn't cheating with just one woman. Not two, but many. Different women. Different lies. Different secrets. All happening while I trusted him blindly. But the biggest shock was still waiting for me. One night, while reviewing my bank statements, I noticed something strange. Money missing. Large amounts. Transferred without my knowledge. At first, I thought it was a banking error. But when I checked again, my hands turned cold. Those transfers were made by Alex. Slowly, secretly, repeatedly. He wasn't just cheating. He was stealing from me. Using my hard-earned money. To impress other women. To fund his lies. To build his fake life. At that moment, my heartbreak turned into anger. And my anger turned into determination. This was no longer about love. This was about survival. But what happened next was something I never expected. One night, while checking the investigators' recordings, I heard something. Something that made my blood freeze. It was Alex's voice. Calm, cold, careless. And then, I heard another woman's voice, laughing. And Alex said words that changed everything. Words I will never forget. Don't worry, she trusts me completely. Soon, everything she owns will be mine. My heart dropped. But that wasn't the worst part. Because seconds later, he said something even darker. Something that made fear crawl through my veins. Just a little more time, and she won't even realize what's happening to her. My hands started shaking. My breath became heavy. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a plan. A dangerous plan. And suddenly, every strange headache, every moment of weakness, every time I felt unusually tired, started making sense. What if he wasn't just lying? What if he was trying to slowly destroy me? That night, I sat alone in the dark, holding my phone, listening to that recording again and again. And for the first time in my life, I felt real fear. Not as a doctor, not as a wife, but as a woman whose life might be in danger. Because now, this was no longer about love. This was about survival. And my revenge had only just begun. The next morning, I stood in the kitchen, staring at my coffee cup. For years, drinking coffee was part of my daily routine. But that day, my hands refused to touch it. Because after hearing that recording, one terrifying question kept repeating in my mind. Was he poisoning me? My heart was pounding. Slowly, carefully, I picked up the cup and smelled it. Nothing unusual. No extrañe smell. No extrañe color. But something inside me kept screaming, don't drink it. So I didn't. Instead, I poured the coffee quietly into a small container, sealed it, and took it with me to the hospital. Not as a wife, but as a doctor. That day, I secretly sent the sample to the lab. And while waiting for the results, every second felt like torture. I kept thinking about all the times I felt dizzy, weak, tired. For no clear reason. Were those signs? Was he slowly destroying my body while pretending to love me? Hours later, the lab technician called me. His voice sounded serious. Too serious. And then, he said words that made my legs feel weak. Doctor, there are toxic traces in this sample. My world went silent. Toxic. Poison. Not imagination. Not fear. Reality. My own husband was poisoning me. For a moment, I wanted to break down, cry, scream, collapse. But I didn't. Because at that moment, fear turned into something stronger. Revenge. Cold, silent, intelligent revenge. That same day, I contacted a lawyer and the police. I showed them everything. The recordings, the bank transfers, the toxic report. And slowly, a plan was created. Not emotional revenge. Perfect revenge. For the next few days, I acted normal, smiling, talking, pretending to trust him, while secretly, hidden cameras were installed inside the house. And what those cameras recorded made everything even worse. Different women entering my house while I was at work. My house, my bedroom, my life, destroyed again and again. But still, I stayed silent, because the perfect moment was getting closer. Then one evening, I told Alex something unexpected. I want to celebrate, I said calmly. He looked surprised. Celebrate what? He asked. I smiled softly. Our marriage, I replied. For the first time in weeks, he looked relaxed, happy, careless. Exactly how I wanted him to feel. That weekend, I arranged a dinner party. Elegant decorations, soft music, beautiful table. Everything looked perfect. But behind that perfect scene was a trap. I invited Alex, some of his secret girlfriends, without telling him, my lawyer, and the police, all under one roof. At the dinner table, Alex looked confident, relaxed, smiling. He thought he was winning. He thought I was still blind. But he was wrong. Very wrong. As dinner started, I stood up slowly, holding a remote control in my hand. My heart was calm. My mind was sharp. And then, I pressed the button. Suddenly, the large screen behind us turned on, and the room went silent. Video recordings started playing. Alex, bringing women into the house. Alex, transferring money. Alex, laughing, lying, betraying. One video after another. One lie after another. One truth after another. The room filled with shock. One woman stood up in anger. Another started shouting. Alex's face turned pale. His hands started shaking. Lena, listen. I can explain, he stuttered. But I didn't stop. Because the final truth was still left. I played the last recording. His voice filled the room. Soon everything she owns will be mine. Silence. Dead silence. Then, the police officers stepped forward. Yes, you can explain, one officer said calmly. At the police station, Alex froze. Fear filled his eyes. For the first time, he looked exactly how I once felt. Powerless. Broken. Trapped. As the police placed handcuffs on him, he turned toward me. Shocked. Desperate. Why did you do this? He whispered. I looked straight into his eyes and answered calmly. Because you tried to kill me while I trusted you. That night, as he was taken away, I felt something strange. Not happiness. Not sadness. Just freedom. Weeks later, the court case began. All the evidence was clear. Fraud. Attempted poisoning. Financial theft. Everything proved. And in the end, justice won. Alex was sentenced to prison. And for the first time in years, my house felt safe again. Peaceful. Silent. But no longer dangerous. Today, I still work as a doctor. Still saving lives. But now, I also know something important. Trust is powerful. But revenge, when planned carefully, is unstoppable. And sometimes, the person who saves lives must also save herself. That if this story shocked you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more emotional and suspenseful stories like this. And tell me in the comments, what would you do if you were in my place?